Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Long Island Legends podcast, the only podcast dedicated to showcasing the most legendary talent right here in our Long Island community. And today I am joined by Mr. Ryan Jones. I'm going to call my shot here, Babe Ruth style, and say that this is going to be the best show we've ever had. Okay, watching this gentleman on social media, everything that he's accomplished, the example that he sets as a father. There's a lot of similarities that I saw, so I reached out to him, and he was kind enough to come on. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Really excited about this.
Thank you for having me, Jeremiah.
So a little bit of background on Ryan. He is the owner of Chubs Meats and Catering and the CEO of the Jones Food Group. You were born and raised in Selden. Started in the business at 17 years old for a family business called Cow Palace, which allowed you to work and pursue your dreams of being a rock drummer.
Yes.
After your band broke up and the tours stopped, you focused your attention on blazing your own path to success. And after working tirelessly and relentlessly, you had the chance in 2014 when your wife and yourself purchased your first store. Now you have 3 stores, food trucks, and other ventures like pickleball, real estate, and credit card companies. So it's quite a resume. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a crazy journey since 2014.
So you grew up in Selden, originally wanted to be a rock drummer.
I did, yes.
Okay.
I wanted to be the next Tommy Lee.
Fair enough. What did that dream teach you about discipline and performing that may have later translated into business?
So my first business, I failed,
Okay.
which was the band, because I handled a lot of we had management, but I handled a lot of day-to-day things and, trying to balance it. I was, 20, 21, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no idea what I was doing.
Sure.
But at the time of my life, I got to meet a lot of people. I've played in front of 5,000 people, and I've played in front of, the janitors.
Okay.
So it was, some nights you felt like a rock star. The other nights you were like, oh my God.
Sure. Which is similar to an entrepreneur because
Sure.
it's like you have those ups and downs. Some days you're on the top of the
Feast
world.
of famine.
And then, the next day it's like, what am I doing? You feel like sometimes you're starting over. So those highs and lows, would you say it's fair that like maybe experiencing those highs and lows in the music industry may have allowed you to prepare for the emotional journey that being an entrepreneur entails?
Oh, yeah. Everybody thinks you're going to get signed, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. We had management, we had a producer. Were we ever going to get signed? Hindsight's 2020. Probably
Sure.
not. There was so many people in a big jar.
Of course.
Or a small jar, a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So, it was great though.
When you started working at Cow Palace, it's a family business.
Yes.
Talk about some of the lessons that you learned there.
So I started there when I was 17. I worked for a pizzeria in a family who, good people, just wasn't my, style.
Okay.
I didn't want to be a pizza delivery guy. I didn't want to, I wanted to do more. But I would always be sent out to pick up chicken, veal, chopping, or whatever they needed. And my old boss at the time was like, hey, do you want a job here? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't even care what you paid me. I just wanted to, you worked 8 to 6 or 7 to 6, and I was able to leave when I wanted to go on tour. They were always phenomenal with that. They always held a spot for me. They had 2 stores. And the lessons that it taught me were, organization, running crews, cutting for restaurants, you got to do the ounce proportion cuts, just basically manning a ship.
Sure.
Not that I was a manager or anything over there, because I wasn't, but I got to oversee some stuff that, to help and learn. And, they were so good to me. I still talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it literally catapulted me to where I am now.
So now you're working for them. The band breaks up, right?
Yep. Band is done.
And at that point, was it at that moment, having worked in the business at Cow Palace, where you realized like, okay, like now's my time to pursue this?
Pretty much, because I didn't have a college degree.
Sure.
I wasn't going to college. I knew I would be a businessman. I didn't know exactly what, but when I came home, I was like, all right, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I can sell anything. I know how to talk to people. I know how to do the right things. Fast forward, I meet my, now wife. And in between that, I had never met my father.
Okay.
And back in, I can tell you the exact date, July 3rd, 2012 it is, actually.
Okay.
It's right on my arm. When I met my dad, and I wound up meeting my whole family, which was phenomenal. Best thing that ever happened to me outside of my wife and my children.
Okay.
Fast forward a little bit of that, I was trying to get a loan to buy my Medford shop that was up for sale, but I didn't own anything. I didn't have any collateral. I had nothing. And my uncle Danny, who I'm very close with, and I have other, different business dealings with.
Okay. Is this through your mom or your dad?
My dad's.
Okay.
My dad's side. And essentially I'm a stranger to them. At that point, if you look at it. And, he was like, we're going to give you the money. So Danny, Dennis, and Ben, all three of my uncles, they loaned me $83,000, and I paid them back in, I think it was like 10, 11 months.
Oh, wow.
So if I was going to fail it, I was going to fail at 84,000, but the 83 that was paid to them.
Sure.
And from there on, I funded all my own businesses.
All self-funded.
All self-funded.
Aside from obviously the money and everything that, was at stake, what was the biggest challenge or the biggest risk that you were taking the moment that you decided you were going to buy the store? Now, was this an existing store?
Yes. So my whole thing was we had bid on the store. We got the store. And what happened was there was a kid that worked for the old man this is the first one in Medford, who outbidded me. He was supposed to be a lawyer or something. I met him once quickly. I don't know anything about him. But so through the grapevine, someone had told me, he was supposed to be a lawyer and he wanted to instead do this, which, hey, if that was your passion, that's great. They got the store, so it was kind of like, kick in the stomach. And I was like, but it wound up working out good for me because 8 months later they were out of business.
Okay.
And I wound up picking it up for pennies on the dollar.
Okay. What was the original price that they bought it at?
God, if they wanted 125.
Okay.
And I wound up picking it up for 35.
Wow.
And it was renovated.
Wow.
So not totally renovated, but enough.
Okay.
We still had to put money into it, but
wasn't called Chubs Meats then.
So it was Chubs from like the 83 to that point, and then the kid changed it to like Bears Market, Gourmet Fare, Chubs Meat. I have no idea. I don't know how you answer the phones. I don't know how you. I have no idea. But he wound up changing the name, kind of incorporating the old one. And I was going to change it all together, and people kept coming in, Chubs, Chubs, Chubs. And, by the size of me, that works. And my wife was like, you can't change your name.
Yeah.
This is a brand. And I'm like, brand what?
Yeah,
and that was before I knew anything about it.
Yeah, of course.
And from the moment I opened up, which was May 3rd, to now, it's been, just a big snowball.
So to that point, you said you were able to pay that loan back in, what did you say, 11 months?
Yeah, 10, 11 months.
10, 11 months. What allowed you to have such success so quickly to be able to pay that back?
Community over there is phenomenal, because you have you're in Medford, but you have other surrounding communities. At the time when we only had the one store, I would have people from Sayville, people from out in Nassau.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously your Pat Med community.
Sure.
And then Sachem really propelled me with the Sachem Moms group.
Gotcha.
I didn't know anything about a Sachem Mom or a Facebook Moms group.
Of course.
No idea what it was.
So how did you find yourself in those?
Somebody tagged us, and it just started going. And then, you're winning all these awards for Best of Long Island, then Best Caterer, Best this, Best that. And it was, then you're really rolling, and now you're like, all right,
we've got something here.
Let's do something else. So I bought a building in Farmingville, which is the next town over.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a small little deli. I didn't know anything about them. Phenomenal people, but they were retired. They wanted to retire. I was on my way to Vegas, actually, when I
Okay.
saw the building. I
Okay.
didn't know it was a deli. I knew nothing about it. And we wind up coming to a deal, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to do with this place.
Yeah, of course.
So we were at the Medford store working, and my brother-in-law and I started making burritos. And I was like, I mean, we'd make heroes. We'd
Sure.
make lunch all the time, all day long. But I never made burritos. So we wound up making a burger, burrito, and hero place.
Oh, okay.
You know, simply called it BBH because we couldn't think of any other name.
Sure.
So that,
Yeah.
that went right off.
But I want to go back to, obviously, the first store, he went out of business.
Yeah.
You come in and turn it around. And I know you talk about the community and everything else, but obviously there must have been something that you did, right? There was a culture, there was a spark, something that you
definitely
did
culture.
that immediately the community took to you, because they're not going to take to you if you don't have a good product, which obviously the first person didn't do a good job of. But you come in 11 months and the place, is figuratively on fire, but like just obviously killing it. When you look back to the linchpin, so to speak, as to like what ignited all of that to allow the community to get behind you, what do you think that was?
I think it was a little bit of luck, lightning in a bottle, and just the way we sold things. Like we would do, people, my experience, at least the way my little mind thinks, is you got to try to make people not think about the choices they have, if that makes sense.
Yes,
like
it does.
when you come in, like you look up at a board or you look on a piece of paper and it's like, okay, we have all these options for this price. Make it easy for yourself. If there's something in there, we'll work it out.
Sure.
And then, like between the meat cases, the prepared foods, the catering, like we just tried to make everything easy for people. I know when I have to go to a store, I don't want to think. I want to get in and I want to get out. Okay. If there's a line, no problem. I understand it. I respect it. I always say if there's a line, there's a reason. And, for us, there are, for the most part, there is always lines, and we're thankful for that.
Sure.
In all three stores. But, that's, I think, between the culture, the community, and lightning in a bottle.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know you said it's snowballed, but there had to have been some hard moments along the way. Were there any challenges as you were building, these stores and this following that you had? I just wanted you to go into some of the challenges that you faced that maybe people aren't aware of.
Oh, God. Place, even though it was renovated, it was like, it looked like, it's not like how you would renovate a place.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like how I would renovate a place. I can't build Legos.
Sure.
So, like, you would walk in and you'd just be like, what's next? Then it was, the air conditioner. That was a brutal summer because that thing kept going, so we had to put an air conditioner. Now, mind you, I don't have any money because as I'm getting it in, I'm paying back, I'm paying bills,
Yes,
So there would be like days also in the summer where you're like, okay, you were busy, but like, where is everybody?
Mm-hmm.
In my first August there, I was like, oh my God, because I didn't understand. Because like when you're working for somebody, you're getting paid.
Sure. You're not paying attention to those things. Yeah.
No, I would, when you think back at it, then it's like, oh, okay, you are right. And it was, one thing after another. Like you have to fix the icebox. You have to, you bought a truck. Okay, well, the truck has to go in for service. And it was just like, wow, I made this. Oh, you needed it.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. It's business.
It's part of it.
It's just part of it. It sucks sometimes, but it's part of the game.
But now, as you've continued to scale and grow, you've been able to differentiate yourself from other butcher shops and and other stores. And
I try to, yes.
what do you think is the biggest differentiator for you guys? I mean, again, going back to the culture, but it's like I've seen you on social media. I've seen you have fanatics, right? Like in your own community, right? Apple has fanatics about their products. Like on a local scale, you have fanatics. What has been the driver of that?
People are very protective of me, which I love, it's awesome. Like if somebody attacks us online, listen, I want the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Sure.
If I'm ruining something of yours, why don't you have a conversation with me first? If I tell you to kick rocks, which I never would and
Sure.
I never have, you have the right to,
Yeah.
kill me online. I get that. And I see it, but people are so like, oh, let me take out my phone and give a bad review,
Sure.
without even talking about, hey, did you not like the food because it wasn't just wasn't your thing?
Yeah.
Or was the food bad? There's a big
Yeah, yeah,
difference in that. And people don't understand that. People's life's work is in a tray or in a dish or in a case somewhere. I'm a big proponent of giving places 3 or 4 times a chance because I get it.
Sure.
I get it. And I've eaten at the top restaurants, and they're just, some of them are awful,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I've eaten there multiple times. Just not my thing. I would never tweet about it, or
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I get it. Like, it's just not my thing. You know what? But they have a packed restaurant, so what do I know?
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Yeah. Just because it doesn't work for you doesn't
Sure.
mean that, there isn't a customer base that appreciates that.
Yeah.
You know?
And, like, people will always, always come to our defense. I mean, like, I don't even have to
Sure.
say anything.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
You've got an army behind you. I've noticed that.
You know what? It's funny because, my wife is like, you're like a D-list local celebrity. And I find that hysterical. So,
But that to, when you can do that, right? And you can become, that person, it allows you, I don't want to say it makes you impenetrable, but
No.
it allows you to weather a lot of the storms, right? That other business owners, they don't have that same luxury.
No. I'm also not afraid to speak my mind.
Of course.
And I think a lot of people are afraid too. And I understand it. I get it because everything is so polarized, with whether it's a political thing or
Sure.
it's a, whatever you're into. Like, I can care less where you fall in life. As long as you're a good person, that's what I care about.
It's all that matters.
We don't have to agree on everything. And, people know my views. I'm not afraid to share them. I don't care if you don't like them. You don't have to shop with us.
Yeah.
And it sounds, like I'm coming off it like a jerk, but like I'm not. Like I respect everybody. When you come into my stores, there's a warm feeling. Like I know, hey, Jeremiah loves those burgers.
Yeah.
Make sure he gets those.
Sure.
Like even if it's throw him a burger. Like get people to come back. It's like Cheers.
Yep.
If you go into Chubs, it's like Cheers.
Yeah.
We know
That's
everybody.
a good comparison. I didn't think of it until you just said it, but that
We know
makes
everybody.
total sense.
And if I don't know your name, I will know your name by the end of the time you're in one of my stores. And I tell my guys, like, it's so important to be personable. Just talk to them. I don't care if they get a pound of chicken or they get $1,000, worth of chicken. I don't care.
Sure.
Okay? If there's an issue, fix it, and we'll deal with it later. Like you go and talk to people. I've never, I'm not saying I haven't yelled. I definitely have, but like I have conversations with my guys. That's why my guys have been with me for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talk, like I don't ever say me. That has never come out of my mouth. It's us. It's we. The team. I'm nobody without them.
Of course.
Like sure, I give them directions, recipes. Like my chefs blow me out of the water. I couldn't do a third of what they do.
Yeah.
Nor would I want to, because they're on another level.
Yeah,
my
they're
butchers
magicians.
too.
Yeah.
My butchers too. They're artists.
Yeah.
My counter guys take care of everybody that walks through the door. I have great management. My nephew Joseph, he's my GM.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's okay.
A kid that's been with me for a long time, Chris Isselbacker. He's another GM in my Ron Conkman store. I have a kid, John Guffrey, that works for me, who's an assistant. I have my brother-in-law who's partners in some of the stuff that I do, my Ron Conkman store. He does a great job. Like I'd rather bring the people that's with me, that help me, and I'd rather to make money with them than to, for them to, maybe do something on their own. Let's do it together.
Big part of why business owners have a hard time scaling is people. Now, you seem to have the benefit of great people around you. And again, that goes back to the environment that you've created. I want to take back, I don't even know if you remember it, I'm sure, but I certainly noticed it. It wasn't the last blizzard, but it was the blizzard before, where you just put out on Facebook or Instagram, we're closing our stores. We think it's important for during a snow day for our guys to be with their families, right? Yeah. And I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, and That's got to drive. Again, you have fanatics as customers, but you've also got fanatics within your own organization, right? And this culture that you've created, uh, how critical has that been? Because it seems like everybody's getting behind the vision that you've created, which is, hey, we're in a family, we're in this together. And then that seems to pass on to how they treat the customers.
And I've worked for other people than the cow, and I've seen like friends and where they've worked and what they, who they worked for. I always wanted to be a family first business. Okay. I firmly believe if I can go watch my kids hockey, like you, my chefs can watch their kids play soccer or basketball, like, hey, Ryan, can I leave early for a baseball? Yeah, you better be there.
Yeah, sure, sure.
I was pissed off at one of my butchers because he didn't see his kid go on the bus, like really bent about it. He's like, oh, well, I don't care about the restaurants. They can wait, okay? You got to see your kid go off for you only get that one time per year. I see my kids go off.
Sure.
There's no reason for you not to. So we close the stores too now, the day after Labor Day and the day after that, because A, it is dead as dead can be. 2, it's generally falls on the back to school days.
Mm-hmm.
So I want my guys there. That butcher, like his kid's in pre-K, so that made it even worse.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I wanted to kill him. Like,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah, of course.
But my guys get to see their kids go off to school the first day of school. That's important to me. Okay, because I didn't have that growing up, and I didn't work. Like my bosses didn't do that, and no fault to no fault to them at all. But to me, you're gonna get a lot more out of your guys if you treat them like humans.
Absolutely.
Not as employee, like they know, the line, and we have a great time. I can call any one of my guys at 3:00 in the morning and they'll help me if I need it.
Of course.
They've fed my dogs. They have picked me up from the airport. They've driven me to the airports. They have come and, move stuff from my backyards, like they're just, they're good. That's why we try to, I don't like the turnover. I hate, I don't like that in a business where like, oh, I really like this kid. And now you come in there and now he's gone.
Yeah.
We try, even like when they do leave, we try to celebrate them. Like, we had one kid that he wasn't with us for a long time, but he was great. We gave him a nice send off. We'll bring cakes, birthdays, we try to do that stuff. We close the store early. I have to actually do this. I have to talk to my brother because it's, we close the store one day at like 3:00, let everybody go home, get showered and ready. And we take them and their families out to dinner. It's like 75 people.
Wow.
We close another day in August that it's a Chubs family day, because their families give up a lot too, especially in the summer.
Of course.
Like people are like, oh, well, they're getting paid. Yeah, they're getting paid. But what does that mean?
Yeah.
They still have families. They still have little kids. So, I've rented out, or not rented out, but like taken 75 people to Splish Splash.
Yeah.
Dave and Buster's. I let them pick because, it's what they want.
Of course.
They've picked fishing the last 2 years. We're not doing that this year.
Okay.
God, no.
You're not a fisherman?
Oh, God, no. It's boring.
Really?
I can't do it.
Oh, okay. Is it you just get seasick or
No, it's just
not?
I'd rather watch paint dry.
Okay.
I can't do
just
it.
not your thing.
Not
Okay.
my thing.
All right. Baseball person?
No.
Exactly. I was going to say, if you don't like fishing, then you probably don't like baseball.
I'm a Yankee fan. The Mets don't bother me.
Yeah.
There's only one team in the world that bothers me. It's the New York Islanders.
Yeah.
But they're good.
They are good.
They are good.
You've expanded into pickleball, real estate, credit card companies. How are you now deciding as you're scaling and as you're growing to pick these other opportunities and ventures outside of your wheelhouse, so to speak?
I like to think I do my homework on certain things. I read up on a lot of things. The idea is not to act like the smartest guy in the room.
Yes.
Even in the food industry, like I'll sit back and let everybody talk.
Yeah.
Let them fight it out. And then I'm like, okay, this is what I think we should do But I like what you said, and I like what you said, and I like what you said. Integrated. I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
But together we have all the answers. So, doing the ATMs, my buddy Nick got me involved with that. He's my social media guy.
Okay.
My buddy Mike and Rich, he got me involved with the credit cards. My uncle Danny got me involved with the pickleball thing that he's involved with. And it was just awesome. I want to make sure that my kids are taken care of in the long run, and their college is all hockey.
Yeah. Enough said there.
Oh my God. I want to try to give them an advantage, but in the right ways. Like, I'm not going to just hand over, if I have something, I'm not just going to hand it over to them.
No, that's the worst thing that you could do.
Yes. My wife and I, we didn't grow up with money.
Mm-hmm.
My wife was a New York State licensed optician.
Okay.
She did well, and now she has the hardest job. She stays at home with the kids.
Yeah.
That's a job and a half.
Yeah. To put it mildly, yeah.
Yes, I don't think I could do that.
As you've made major leaps in the business world, were there some mistakes that you looked back that, at the time probably, I don't want to say felt like they were going to be career enders, but, probably may have set you back a little bit, that you looked back on and you realized, wait a minute, like, this is actually a major blessing. Sometimes we don't see that. And I know that for me as a business owner, I've been through a few of those scenarios where I'm like, oh boy, this is going to take me out. And then all of a sudden you find a way around it and you're like, thank God for that.
Luckily not. In that aspect where you're like, oh my God. I think about that often, actually, but I try to make strategic, conservative, like, let's not all go in with everything you got here.
Okay.
Like, make sure if you're going to spend this, make sure you have the money behind it.
Okay.
That's how I kind of, would like to do things,
Sure.
in that aspect.
You've built an incredible following on social media. Is that something that came naturally to you, the camera work, or was it something that you just kind of built up over time?
I don't know. I mean,
How did it all kind of start? I mean, you knew you had to be on social media, right?
Yes. Like, I didn't have I didn't have a business Facebook. My mother-in-law actually started a business Facebook, and I mean, it was
How far along were you in business with the butcher shop, Chubs Meat, before social media started to become relevant?
I would say about a year, but like,
Okay.
I was never on Instagram. It was all Facebook.
Okay.
All Facebook, all the time.
Okay.
I didn't really believe in the Instagram thing, and then everyone's like, oh, Instagram, and
Sure.
then I was like, all right, I guess I have to go there. So, I mean, we got like I think between the both, like, over 60,000.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem like a lot.
No, but it is a lot, especially organically.
Yeah,
To
we never boosted
Yeah.
like that type of stuff. I don't know.
Did it snowball? Did it all happen at once, or was it a steady progression up?
Steady progression.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what we've been doing, like, the last like month and a half, we've been doing just giveaways. Like,
Yeah.
giving back to people, which is cool, which I really love doing, because we do a lot of things behind the scenes that nobody will know or
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know, and I like to keep it like that.
Yeah.
It's like the George Steinbrenner approach.
Yeah.
But like, we give away food to people that, I hope that they need it, because not everybody's truthful with their stuff.
Of course.
But we do a lot of giveaways, and, like, because what we'll do is, it's like, you share, you follow, it helps social media, and hopefully that person wins something, but we keep getting hacked with certain things.
Really?
There's some guy living in his mom's basement that is just like, comes up with fake Chubs pages all the time. So like, we keep telling the people, don't give your info out, and they still do, sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you do not get a message with my cell phone number, you did not win, and that's what I do.
Okay.
And then everybody's like, well, I didn't see the winners posted. I'm like, well, the page is getting hacked with that stuff, so I don't think that they necessarily want that.
Yeah.
Most people do, like, well, they'll tag us, which is fine, more than plenty.
As a Selden native, you've built a business, multiple businesses right here on Long Island. Well, what does it mean to employ the people in your community? I mean, I know you said you always wanted to go into business for yourself, but now it's like here you are, not just in business, but ingratiated into the community, the fabric of, certainly in Suffolk County. What does that mean to you? I mean, do you ever stop and sit back and think of that?
Um, I mean, I yes and no, because like I try to put myself in every, like I don't try to look at myself as like the guy. Like
Sure.
I don't, you know, I just as everybody else. I put my pants on the same way.
Of course.
Um, I don't know. Like I never thought of it that way.
No.
Like they're just every Sunday. Here's your paycheck, brother. Appreciate you. And shake their hand
Hmm.
and carry on.
But it's certainly developed into this large family, right? Like when you started it, you was that a goal?
That's
That was
that was the ultimate goal.
that was the ultimate goal, was to build one big family.
If you have happy people working for you, and I hate even saying for you because
Sure.
that's just
Yeah.
tacky in my opinion, but with you, I should say, everything else flows. If there's a problem, they're going to come to you. They're not going to, like, listen, they're never going to like everything you say or do. I get it, but for the most part, my guys, like if they need something, they'll text me, hey, are you around? Hey, can we talk?
Yeah.
Call
No
me.
problem.
Or I'll call them right as soon as I get the text. What's
Yeah.
up? What do you need?
It seems like it's a very open culture where people are not afraid to speak their minds. There's a healthy respect for you as the owner, but there's also the willingness to share, not just with you, but amongst each other, exactly what you need to do, what could be done better, and it seems like it just kind of propels itself forward. If I'm saying that correctly, in terms of like the growth just kind of happens organically by this collaborative approach.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have all the answers.
Sure.
My guys come up with like, hey, I created this, and they'll send me pictures. I'm like, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Let's use it.
Yeah.
What's the worst that happens? I mean, you lose the money on it, yeah, but like everybody has lunch.
Sure.
So it's not at the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like my guys they're super creative. They're super smart. They got great ideas. They got, and you can't rule with an iron fist.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that I'm not budging on, my sauces, my marinades, like stuff like that. But
The way they treat customers.
yeah, oh,
naturally,
yeah.
of
I mean,
course.
I've let guys go like on the spot. Like, you're going to treat them like that? No problem. You got to go.
Yeah.
I won't tolerate it. There's stealing. I won't tolerate,
course.
obviously. Like I said, I've always had lucky go arounds with people that were honest. Because a lot of people handle the money, and it's a lot of money.
Yeah, of course.
And the way I get texted is the way I get it. So
Awesome. In terms of the growth of Chubs Meats, do you have a vision? Do you want the brand to be regional, or do you want it to grow beyond that? What's next for your company?
well, we do have the idea of opening up another store or two.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Suffolk or Nassau?
Right now, Suffolk. We want to move towards more the Manorville area.
Okay.
That's the next goal. Somewhere over there, Mastic, Manorville,
Okay.
Mauritius, and that's in that wheel well.
Okay.
And then, like we're rebranding our food trucks into Philly cheese trucks.
Okay.
Like I'll never say no to anything,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if it makes sense, then we're good to roll.
Then you're good to roll. All right. I want to segue a little bit past the entrepreneurial space and talk about your role as a dad, right? Especially, I came across your info, your son Mason, his reputation now as, a premier goalie within, our world. It's kind of what led me to you. I know the trials and tribulations of being a hockey dad. You've done it longer than I have, but in the short period of time that I've been involved in it, I know how taxing it could be. As a successful entrepreneur and hockey dad, how do you balance? Because I struggle with this too. We all do. How do you balance building a successful business while also being there for your kid?
So growing up without my dad, like I said earlier, I wanted to make sure that I was at all my kids' stuff as much as I can be.
Was that also a reason of getting into business for yourself? Okay.
Yes. When Mason started trajecting with the hockey or whatever, I remember seeing my guys and I was like, okay, don't crash the car. I'll be checking in every day, but I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to run the company through my phone.
Okay.
Everybody looked at me because it's hard to run retail through your company, through a phone.
Yeah.
But I think I've gotten a handle on how to do it.
Yeah.
Whether it's the good, bad, or the ugly.
Yeah. I run my house flipping business through my phone the same way.
Everyone's like, oh, yeah, your phone. This thing is worth more than $1 million. And people don't realize
I know.
And people just think you're addicted to your phone. And we all are, right?
Of course.
How many times you sit in bed, you're in bed with your wife and you're scrolling through Instagram laughing at dumb things.
I know.
We all do it. Or our hockey reels or,
the amount of stuff that I get, I get handed to on my phone between Instagram and Facebook with hockey highlight reels, podcasts, funny videos,
new products.
Oh, yeah.
And then there you are buying.
Yeah. Oh, I got to get this.
My wife wants to kill me.
Yeah.
She has Amazon. I have Pure Hockey.
Yeah.
But, as Mason trajected, we didn't stay home on Long Island. We really weren't a Long Island hockey family in that aspect. We went right to Connecticut for the Connecticut Junior Rangers. And then we segued in the same year to Mid-Fairfield Junior Rangers. And it was great up until it wasn't. And now we're on, your guys' your guys' division for the Avalanche. And segueing over there this December, we left, mid-season and wound up getting to the Avalanche, and it was the best. Mason's having a ball. The families are great. The coaching is great. The kids are great. The organization is, top notch.
Long Island residents, do you have a house that you want to potentially sell off market, your terms, your timeline, your way? Or do you know of somebody that could benefit from that? Then definitely give us a call. You can reach out to us at 631-333-SELL. The number is below, or visit our website at SuffolkCountyHouseBuyers.com. And for any deal that you refer over to us where you are not the seller, the first deal you refer to us, we pay a $5,000 referral fee. The second deal, we pay a $10,000 referral fee. And get this, the third deal that you refer to us, we will split the profits with you 50-50. And some of our deals are multiple six figures, so this can be a life-changing amount of money. It could pay for weddings. It could pay for college, anything that you choose from. So please take advantage of this great opportunity. Once again, we're looking for off-market opportunities where a seller wants to sell on their terms, their timeline, their way. You grew up a hockey fan?
Hockey fan. I played roller hockey.
Okay. So introducing him to hockey in an early age, that was your doing?
Oh, yeah.
It was?
All three of my kids.
Okay. Was the plan for him to be goalie?
So he started off like they all do with a stick and a ball and a net. And I'll never forget my buddy Bobby and his skating coach Kim were doing the Learn to Skate Ranger program.
Yep.
And at Superior.
Oh, Superior, okay.
And Mason comes to me watching a Ranger playoff game, and Igor is playing, and he looks at me, he goes, I want to be like Igor. Where most parents are like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah, let's go. I went out the next day, I bought him whatever I could find for him.
And how old is he at this point?
5.
5, okay.
And he literally went up to Connecticut that summer.
And you knew offhand right away, like, hey, this is the organization. I guess you did your research and said, hey, if my son's going to succeed, this is where I'm going to go to start off.
So we went to the Royals, with Tony and Steve and all those guys. They're great people. But they signed him as a practice player, which I was cool with. I was like, I don't even think he's ready for even the modified travel.
Sure.
And then I saw him playing out there. I was like, maybe I'm wrong. And they kept saying to me, the coach saying to me, "Oh, he's only going to be a practice player." I was like, I know.
Yeah.
And then when the Connecticut Junior Rangers came around and I had sent them some stuff, I barely had anything. They're like, "Yeah, bring him down," and he made the team. And then they're like, "Oh no, well he'll play." I'm like, "No, you can't take away from that family that was there. They paid. The kid
Sure.
tried out just to integrate Mason. That's not
Sure.
right. I would hate for that to happen to him." So we went up north. Everybody thought it was insane, which I obviously was. And then, we were approached by the Mid-Fairfield team, and, Mason got to see so much from his time there. Even playing CJR for the spring, Mason's been in Vancouver and Detroit, Montreal, Toronto. I can't even tell you. We're going to Toronto next week.
Yeah. All before the age of 9.
All before the age of 9. He's going to Chicago, Colorado, Minnesota, Boston. I mean, this kid lives it, but he works hard. He works extremely, extremely hard. And we push him.
You do.
You have to. I don't believe in the soft parenting. I don't, because I don't care how good your kid is at a sport or, draw. You want to be the best. Mason has turned into an absolute fierce competitor because of the way we push him. In the hockey aspect for a goalie, you should hate letting in a goal.
Sure.
Okay. That just sets up life.
Yes.
You don't want to lose. You have to lose in order to understand what it is to win. But you should also hate to lose.
Yes.
Michael Jordan hated to lose.
Hated it.
Mason's been around, Jonathan Quick. And Quickie hates to lose. Right? Someone told me that he used to despise letting goals in practice. And that's what I told Mason. I'm like, that's what you want to be like. Hate when your teammate scores on you. Hate it even more when the other team scores on you.
So I go through this with my own son, right? Because he started a little later. He started at 7.5, right? Learned to skate, but he picked up the skating very, very quickly, and he sort of just really fell into it. And, we got hooked up with the goals, and it's been, an upward trajectory from there. And so now he's constantly talking about, I want to be the best player on my team. I want to be the best player on my team. Okay, fine. I want to ask you, what is that? Where do you find that line? Because for him, it's like, okay, it's going to require you getting up at, 6 in the morning and, doing workouts, 6:50, sometimes 2 hours in the morning. Luckily enough, he doesn't start school till 9:25. So we have a little bit of leeway in that regard. I've seen him at moments, right, say I'm a little tired. I'm a little, and I don't yell. I don't, say, hey, get your ass up. But it's always going back to the reminder of, do you want to be the best? And his answer is always yes. I said, and I kind of put it on him, and I'm just curious how you do it. I'm like, well, how do you think you're going to be the best? And his answer is, I got to work harder. And it's like, okay, well, then it's time to get up. And usually that works. And I'm just wondering, when you say hey, we push him, what that style is for you, because that's my way of pushing him.
It's pretty organic. You rub his back a little bit, you wake him up. I usually give him a little flick on the cheek.
Yeah.
And he's up. Might drag his ass, but he's up.
Similar for my son.
Yeah, I mean, he'll wake up 4:30 in the morning at times.
Okay.
And he'll sit in the car. We do not let electronics in the car on the way to a training, to a practice, to a game.
Same here. I give it to him on the way back.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, because my experience with that, he's dialed in on a stupid iPad.
Yeah, and once you do that, there's all sorts, and you can go from a biological standpoint of what it does to your brain.
100%.
And, yeah.
So that was hard to, get that, not that he was ever on the iPads a lot, because I hate those things. I don't believe in them. But in the same breath, what are they going to do?
I know.
So it's a catch-22 with that. We have a saying in our house where, it's actually from my father, whereas, hard work equals success equals rewards. And that's something on all Mason's helmets, even his new helmet coming out. Also, the word compete. You want to compete, whether it's in school, whether it's in life, whether it's on the ice. or off the ice. Whatever you're going to do, you need to compete.
Mm-hmm.
He plays lacrosse too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, I don't care if you let in 1,000 goals in a game. You better have tried to stop 1,000 shots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this weekend, prime example, we were winning. We were winning big. Couple bad penalties in a row, a stoppage of play of 8 minutes. The team fell apart. All of them, Mason included. And Mason was having probably the best game I've ever seen him play.
Up until that point.
And they just couldn't get it back. And, credit, Teddy,
Yeah.
And his staff and, Cole, who's an absolute freaking beast,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of those boys. And, the better team won, and had nothing to do with our boys couldn't beat them. We sure could, and I know they have, but they took that opportunity. And I told Mason, because Mason was crushed, devastated.
Sure.
And any goalie always feels that way.
Of course.
And I'm like, you see that? You feel this? You see this? You don't want to feel that. You're going to again, plenty of times. You're going to lose a lot more than you're going to win at times. But when you start winning, that's when you'll appreciate the losses. And that's life. That's business. That's, every day.
Yeah.
He wants to play. He wants to go to Michigan. He wants to play in Michigan, play for the Wolverines.
Okay.
He's got a couple of his skill coaches, Justin Selman and Boo Nieves from the Rangers. Justin played with the Blues. Both Michigan guys. Komisarek, who Mason's, his son was Mason's teammate.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan guy, brought us to the Yost and in a big house, and we got to see all, his plaques and everything.
Wow.
And I said, Mason, this is attainable. The last tournament Mason was at for Mid-Fairfield, Mike brought over Al Montoya. You remember Al Montoya?
Mm-hmm.
Al Montoya, I believe, was the 7th pick of the draft, whatever year it was, for the Rangers. He was the goalie. He won the world the World Juniors. Like, what a great guy. Came over, saw Mason, talked to him, said, I was watching you play, how you move and everything. That's everything, to a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you get the guys that are at the top of the mountain talking to you like this.
Yeah. Telling you that, hey, you've got what it takes.
Yeah, you can, listen, is he going to be in the NHL? I'm never going to tell him no.
Yeah.
Parents tell their kids no all the time, which is the dumbest thing.
I don't understand that.
I don't care how ridiculous it sounds. You want to be a dinosaur? Go ahead, dude.
Yeah.
My youngest guy thinks he is a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to be, buddy.
It is
be the best T-Rex you can be.
And that's the point. And I see so many parents say, well, my kid's never going to make the NHL. How do you know? How do you know? Now, I could tell you this, and at this point, my son's schedule, I don't know how it compares to your son's, but it's 8 to 9 times a week on the ice. It's 3 practices that the goals run, plus 3 to 4 times in the morning during the week. And then we get to the weekends, where we have, 2 to 3 games.
Yeah,
right?
they're tired.
It's 9 to 10,
Everybody's
ice sessions
tired.
a week. But, and I do more than probably, a lot of the other kids do. Now, he's also trying to catch up a little bit. That's a component. But he has this burning desire to be the best. And, people made jokes like, oh, you're training him to go into the NHL. No, but this is what he says he wants to do. And one thing I can sure as shit guarantee you is that if you don't put in the work, you won't get there. So let's put in the work. And wherever it takes us, it's
going to life lessons. He's going to see you with your businesses and your, like, okay, dad will, the thing I say to Mason, because he's the oldest, the things you do not waste of mine is my time and my money.
Yes.
Okay. I will be more pissed off at you to go out there and absolutely stink up the place because you have no effort. Mason had training. Oh, his main goalie coach is Brandon Perrone from Between the Pipes. Brandon and Ian are the absolute best.
Yeah, my son's worked with them too.
The best people. And then Mason also has John DeCastro, which is the goals
coach, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Who's not going to sugarcoat anything.
He's like Brandon's more of like a softer guy in that aspect of but John's told Mason, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, don't waste your dad's time or mine.
Yeah.
And Mason's like, all right.
And you need that.
Yeah. Mason was doing drills. Brandon had him doing something. I don't know what it was. I don't remember. And he just couldn't get it. Just didn't register. And Mason's usually good after like the 3rd or 4th time. Like, like relatively getting things. Just didn't have it that morning. And he came off the ice. He's like, oh, I sucked. I'm like,
I get that from my son too. I suck. I'm the worst hockey player ever. Yeah.
and I'm like, you didn't look great out there, but you know what you didn't do?
Give up.
You didn't give up, and
Yeah.
you weren't pouting, and you weren't, being a little baby about things, and you were trying. You won't hear anything from me.
Yeah.
Next time, just do it better.
Yeah.
But there have been times where, I've lost it. Like, dude, I'm waking up at 4:00 in the morning, driving you to Syosset from Miller Place.
Yeah.
Just for you, to mess around out there with all your other buddies. Like, it's not like you're tired.
Yeah.
Because you have the energy to mess around. And I'm not saying don't have fun. You got to have fun. It's a game. But this is going to teach you for life.
I know. And that's the life lessons I want him to learn, And I want to kind of tie this back a little bit. As he's chasing his dream, what role do you think you chasing your dream has played in him chasing his? Because I can tell you, I've always used this saying, like, parenting is caught, not taught, is a saying that I've used. They watch what you're doing. You could talk the game all you want, but if you're not chasing your dreams and doing the things that you're trying to get them to do, a lot of times it's going to fall on deaf ears, even no matter what you say.
My daughter loves being at the shop. Mason loves being with the boys, but, just to, talk shit and, clown around and stuff like that. Delaney and Jack even love being there. They love being in the kitchens. They love being at the blocks. Like Mason will come in and,
Sure,
he'll stock shelves. He'll, clean up stuff. So it's not, he's not, not that he's not helpful. But, I try to integrate, guys, you don't live in a house out of luck. You don't, when you ask for something, you don't just get it out of luck. You get it from your parents' hard work, right?
I remind my son of that all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no problem taking away things. I have no problem, it's not soft parenting. We're raising strong men and independent women.
Yes.
My daughter is very independent. She's frightening, but my son's, my youngest son he could go off in the world now and be successful. Mason, you still need to guide a little bit.
Yeah, similar to mine. Maybe something about that 2017 year.
Yeah,
I don't
not
know.
normal.
Yeah,
not normal. Mason's not normal.
Yeah, no, my son neither. And which is why I jumped on the hockey, because for years I was trying to get him into different things, and he was always very athletic, but he would do it and then he'd be like, yeah, I'm not interested. And then when he mentioned the hockey, it kind of rolled my eyes. I'm like, okay, luckily there was the learn to play, and so came with the equipment. I'm like, what do I have to lose? Yeah. And the biggest gateway drug of all time, he got into it and he was like, I want to do it. And he finally found his passion. So it was like, oh, great. Now that you finally found your passion, which is why, when people ask, why do I do so much with him? It's because I want him to understand and learn that, if you want to be successful in life, you got to work at it. Even if you don't make the NHL, even if you don't play in college, that's okay. But if you understand that, to be good at something, this is the commitment that it requires. I have the other two. I have a daughter that's older than him and a son that's younger than him. They could both go off in the world right now and probably be successful. He needs to learn some of this structure and discipline. Some kids have it, some kids don't, but that doesn't mean it can't be taught.
No, yeah. Mason's very disciplined when it comes to his hockey.
Yeah, and my son.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's it. That's it.
You try to teach them, dude, just listen to me. I'm not steering you in the wrong way, but that's harder than actually doing the job.
So for you, building Chubs Meats and the Jones Food Group, what are the lessons that you have had from your success? I know we just talked about the fact that, they're in this nice house. They have all these nice things. They understand, obviously, that it doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from the work that you and your wife have put in. But what about the lessons that you've endured as an entrepreneur specifically that you've tried to pass down to your son, and in this case to Mason, as he kind of goes through the trials and tribulations of youth hockey?
Everything is earned. Nothing is given. Whether it's selling a ribeye steak or getting a shutout, you got to work. Okay, you got to work to sell that steak. You got to work to sell this catering. You got to work to sell these corporate jobs. You got to work in the mornings, to eat at night. And for Mason, eating at night means playing, succeeding, helping your teammates, being a good teammate. Like tonight, we're going out to Jersey for ID skates. Like he's good to roll, but they want us to come out there. They need basically a moving target.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Okay.
But like he's doing the extra work. Like this week has been the first week where Monday through Friday he has nothing. Though he will skate tomorrow morning with my other two. But Saturday morning, it's right back at it. Up at 5, training at 6:15. He'll train for 2 hours, then he'll go off ice, and start getting ready for tryouts, which is next Tuesday, I believe, 10th, right? And then that following week, he's in Toronto for representing the United States for the Four Nations tournament.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Congrats to him there.
Yeah, it's cool. And then we're back in Toronto, I think, in the next few weeks, playing for the Hockey Hall of Fame. So, it's like he's made all the, yes, I've made the connections per se, but he's opened up the door. I can't go out there and play for him.
Of course.
He's done all these things, and that's why I try to teach them, him in particular, because he's the oldest. It's the same thing in the stores. If you sell one steak or one catering order to one person, they're going to tell their friends. It's the same thing in the sports world. Hey, check out this kid. He's a good goalie, or he's a good forward, or he's a good defenseman. I was like, it's the same thing. It's just different terminology.
We all know that in business and in youth sports, competitive sports, it's not a straight arrow up, right? There's kind of, it's the ups and the downs, right? There'll be moments where my son puts in a bunch of work and then he goes out there and he sees it and he's like, oh, I've been doing all this training.
That would make sense.
With best, okay, get it. But then there's also games where it doesn't translate, you know what I mean? And then he comes off dejected and it's like, well, why am I putting in all this work? You know what I mean? And I'm like, you have to understand that it's not a one-to-one equation. It's not I put in X amount of hours and I move up a notch. It's up and down. I said, you're going to have bad games. And, I showed him the chart of the day of an entrepreneur where it's like this. I said, that you have to understand, you have to learn to battle the low moments.
Like stocks.
Yeah. It's like stocks.
I literally tell Mason that too. I'm like, dude, you're a moving stock. You play and train your ass off, right? You don't give a shit. You're an animal out there. And then when you get to the point, you look like you've never seen a hockey puck in your life, and you couldn't stop a volleyball.
Yeah.
And there were times where, even last year, you could have put a ham sandwich out there, and they may have stopped the puck more than Mason. And he went through a really tough stretch, and then he built himself out of it. And he wound up winning a championship, and I said, Mace, you did that, right?
But he also had you to guide him because you've been in those scenarios before where you realize oh, I think I got it. Oh, wait, I don't have it. You know what I mean? You're able to pass those lessons on to him.
And I tell this to even now Delaney, who's going to be doing the Team Long Island skates and everything, the girl stuff. I'm like, Laney, just go out there, have fun. You go out there and skate with Coach Kim, so you're already halfway there.
Sure.
Now it's just putting it all together. Okay. You're not going to go out there and be, a prodigy. And, none of my kids are like that. They got to work for it. My youngest, though, he throws balls off the wall and catches them one hand, which is, he was doing that at 3, which is wild because he sees Mason doing it.
Yeah, of course.
Mason has to catch 100 balls a day. That's part of his deal.
Okay.
And we put a little incentive contract for him.
Oh, really?
You win, you get X amount of dollars.
Okay.
You make X amount of saves in a game, you get X amount of dollars. And this year he took the money and we as a company, we buy toys for kids.
Okay.
We'll go to a Target or, Walmart or whatever. We just fill the shopping carts full of toys. I don't know what I buy. I just buy a lot. And he had $300 out of his contract money per se. And he took it and said, I want to buy the toys with you.
Oh, wow. That's a great story.
No problem.
You can't ask for more than that.
Nope. Couldn't have been any prouder.
as he's going through all this, and you're seeing him develop, and you're seeing the success that he has. Obviously, we've talked about this before. We all want to win, right? But it can't come at all cost, right? Um, Going back to this, what you just brought up about him and giving back to the community and taking that money that he earned and giving it to somebody that's in need. Um, how have you been able to integrate the work ethic, but also the character component that goes along with it? Because even obviously, like talking to you and seeing how you treat the people around you, you got to believe that that's rubbing off on him, right?
I like to think so. All my kids, like especially Mason and Delaney because they're older.
Mm-hmm.
Showing them, like sick little boys and girls. I said, you see this little girl who, she has cancer and you're running around free, going to Disney, traveling to, Detroit, hanging out with guys that, pro hockey players. I'm like, these little kids can't do it.
Yeah.
So when you have the ability to give back to those little kids, you need to do it at all costs. Okay. You show a little kid, you should, they're going to remember that stuff. And I want them to use that little platform that they have. Mason has a little Instagram, obviously I run it, but take your little platform because a lot of people know who you are and run with it for good. Okay. Yeah. It's the hockey. That's great. But being a better person and a good person is going to bring you a lot further than a hockey game.
Yeah.
So we try to teach them that way. We try to teach them, my little guy, it's kind of hard because we would bring him and he'd be like, well, where's my toys? It's
yeah, of course.
Santa's coming, buddy. But you trying to, I've been taking Mason with me to do this since he's about 3. He'll go and donate turkeys with me. He'll go and, do a lot of the stuff that we do because I want to show them.
Sure.
It's important, that it's not just all, what can I get? What can I take?
Yeah.
Listen, we're entrepreneurs. We want to make money. Money's my favorite thing in the world to make, but raising good humans to take over your legacy and whatever that may be is more important.
Yeah, it's everything.
It's everything. You could be a billionaire and be the worst human on earth. Yeah. There's plenty of them.
Oh, there are.
But to me, I'd rather be comfortable. My kids, most importantly, be happy and healthy, and everything else is fine.
Everything else will definitely take care of itself. And, to that point, the goals, we did a great thing this year. We went to an organization that helps kids with disabilities. So we went to this event. We did it right before practice, and I was really, really impressed, with the kids overall, but my son in particular, just how kind he was, how he sat alongside these kids. He was taking photos with them. He was talking to them. He was playing with them. And this is a kid too that he's crazy. He's a 2017. There's something about that year. We can all agree on that.
Yes.
Yeah, there's something that happened.
They're not normal.
I don't know what it is. And he's an unusual kid. And, when it was done when we were in the car ride, I said, what did you think of that? He goes, that was wonderful. That was his words. It was like, that was wonderful. And it was just, that was something you know how to do again. Absolutely. And those are kind of things that you see, outside of the time and effort that he puts into things, but that willingness to, be a better person, to be kind and accepting, because there are some times where he is a mutant, right? And you're like, yeah, what are you doing? And then when you see those moments, you're like, okay, maybe I'm on the right path.
Yeah. Mason has, every time he sees somebody in, Army or, whoever.
Sure.
Service person, he goes up to them and thanks them for their service.
That's great.
The last time he did it, we were in an airport. I don't know where we were. He said it, and the lady was so rude to him. There was somebody in I believe it was Army, and I was like, dude,
okay,
she might be having a bad day.
Yeah,
it's not an easy job, and he was just brought back by that. I'm like, you don't stop doing that.
Yeah.
And then he's done it. Since it's like you always thank a cop firemen,
Sure.
you know, whoever provides the public service, you know, but you know, like both my kids, like Delaney and Mason will do it. You know, Jack isn't up to that.
When you see the amount of work that your son is putting in, how much of yourself do you see in him? Does he remind him of you?
Yes, because I
You with him?
wanted to be a drummer so bad. And, you know, there was nothing that was going to stop me from at least trying. And I tried. And, you know, like
Do you still play at all?
I mean, I have, you know, I have my kit and my touring kits in my gym, in my house. Obviously, by the looks of me, I use my gym every day. But now it's turned into a hockey gym. But actually both my kits are still in a closet in the gym. But no, I haven't played. Mason wanted a guitar for Christmas. Got him that. Delaney wanted a keyboard. My daughter's very like artsy.
Okay.
You know, she'll play sports, but she's very artsy. Great little artist with her drawing and everything. You know, and Mason said he wants to take guitar lessons, so maybe we'll do that in the summer just to break it up or something. But Mason was playing drums. He played for School of Rock.
Okay.
But
when you see him pursuing the dreams the way you were pursuing yours, you can't. You
that's
must,
why I'll never say no.
Yeah, because you know that.
If you're passionate about something, I'll make it happen. It's the best that I can.
Yeah, that's all I've asked for. Whatever it might be, whether it's hockey, whether it's music. You know, my daughter does competitive cheer. My youngest does soccer. You know, I'm all over the place. However far you want to go, I'll support you as long as you're willing to put the work and make the commitment to succeed. Like, I will give you every resource I can.
100%. You know, yeah, you're paying how much money a week in ice lessons?
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. You
a
know
lot,
what I mean?
lot of renovations.
And I tell him, listen, we don't have to do this. I just want to be clear. If you want to play rec league hockey, nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, don't look at me as me forcing you. Are you having fun? And if this is what you want to do, and it's always, I want to be the best. Well, then if you want to be the best, this is the commitment that you need to bring to the table. And if you don't, you just tell me and we will stop.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
You know, I tell Mason the same shit. I'm like, you want to be the best because, like, you're a little small for a goalie. Mm-hmm. So you have to play big at all times, you know, and, you know, credit to him. He plays big, you know. But, you know, he's also had a ton of heartbreakers.
Of course.
You know, and, you know, we were up in Vancouver. You know, one game he wins the MVP of the game. You know, they give him a big chain and, you know, Bauer gives, or no, Quench, whatever it's called, Quench.
Okay.
Gives him this big chain and, you know, like we got a bottle and everything. And then the next game he just gets shelled. It's just the way of a young goalie, you know, young sports.
But he's learning to manage it, and he understands that that's part
he's
of
emotional. He hates to lose.
Of course, my son too. I got a video of my son in a game. It was a rec league championship game. They were losing. I got a video of it. I pulled it off a live barn. Him giving the middle finger to the scoreboard. He was, you know.
I love that. Yeah. I see, like, parents like, oh, well, I'm like, no. I don't want my kids to. Yeah. They have to lose, but I don't want them to lose.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it.
But I
like what it teaches.
But I also want him to understand that, like, you're going to be losing certain games at certain points, right?
You're not going to be the best at times.
But there's going to be games. You can't let your emotions get the best of you during the game to the point that you lose. Just because you're losing doesn't mean you're going to lose. And if you don't keep your emotions in check, you know, a game that is winnable will no longer be winnable because you let it get ahead of you, right? And so that's like a big thing for me is you want to get mad afterwards and you know, have your pity party, fine. Then it's back to work. But during the game, you've got to keep your head in check, you know, and that's a big, you know, that's a big thing.
That was like this past Sunday. Like, you know, Teddy's team, credit to them, man. You
guys were up 5-0.
Yeah, and we freaking fell apart, you know, like – the boys played so hard. Our boys played so hard and so good together. And that 8 minutes of not moving, you know, that to me was the turning point. Yeah. You know, Teddy even said the same thing to me. He's like, I don't know what it was, I mean, listen, it worked out for them, and I'm
Sure.
happy, and they wound up crushing the other two teams.
Yeah.
But, it was, I said to Mason, I'm like, dude, this is going to happen again.
Yeah.
You're going to shit the bed. Okay? Whether it's your fault, the team's fault, but you guys win as one, you lose as one.
Yeah.
You have to. Because you can't, once you start blaming, oh, you know what, it was his fault, that's when the mutiny starts.
Yeah. Well, people say that, like, they talk about getting to the top of Everest, right? But they don't realize that it's getting back down.
That's the scary part.
That's the hard part. And it's like anybody, I don't say, but almost anybody could get to the top. It's what happens on the way down that defines you,
Mason's won big games, big championships, tournaments. This year he, a lot of second place. And I said, you don't want to be, I'm teaching my kids to have a killer instinct in whatever it is they're going to do. I don't believe in that. I love how Michael Jordan approached life. I love how Kobe Bryant approached life. Like, if you can train and become better today, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You could do it again tomorrow. You're going to be better than you were yesterday. So when you get to the game, it's easy. It's like studying for a test. I said, Mason, you study for the test. The test is easy. It's the studying that's hard. It's the training, in sports. It's the training. It's the off ice. It's the diet. It's the, whatever, the video. I said to him, I'm like, I know you're not always so pumped about waking up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, neither is my son.
No, it sucks. I mean, sometimes it sucks for us. Like today. Today's a perfect day to do nothing. It's raining. It's miserable. It's cold again.
Yeah. But
you wake up, you put your big boy pants on, and for high, get your ass in the car and we're going. Like I've told him plenty of times, like, don't waste my time or their time. You want to waste your own time? That'll be on yours. That's on your dime.
Yeah.
You tell me you want to do this just like your son. I want to be the best. All right. Don't tell me. Show me.
Show me. Yeah.
And that's with anything. He can quit hockey tomorrow and be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then whatever you're going to do it to your full capacity. Yeah. You want to be a chess player? Great. I don't think he ever would. I don't even think he knows what chess is, but
I've actually thought about getting my son into chess to kind of the anticipatory, role that chess plays as to how that would translate to reading.
Probably be good for him.
Yeah, reading the ice better. So that is something that actually
Mason doesn't have the mental capacity for that. He'd be like, this sucks.
Yeah.
How do I win?
Yeah, I know. And I think I might have that, but it's something I'm going to experiment with. So I'll let you know how it goes. If he decides one day to go into business, I know you just kind of touched on this, the best advice that you could give him, having learned all the lessons from hockey, I think I know the answer, but for everyone watching, he decides now, okay, hockey's behind me, business is the next venture. What are you telling him?
Don't be selfish.
Okay.
Don't be greedy.
Okay.
Okay. Pigs get slaughtered.
Oh, yeah. Hogs, well, my father would say pigs get fat,
pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. That's
yes.
right. Sorry.
Yes, I've learned that one too.
That's right. I always mix that up.
Yeah.
Hogs get slaughtered. Be compassionate, but have that killer instinct. Like, I always go back to the Guns N' Roses lyric. You can have anything you want, but you better not take it from me.
Yeah.
And that's the way you got to approach things in life, sports, anything. Like, if you're dialed in on building a brand, a butcher shop in my,
sure.
my world, you want to be the best. You don't need to be the biggest, but you want to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And when I mean biggest, like, you don't have to have the biggest stores. Like, I look at it, it's like, I'd rather have a bunch of little headaches than one giant migraine.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's the right way to approach it, but that's the way I always looked at it. Like, all my businesses were once open and successful, and then they closed down, and now they're successful again. You take a store doing zero, and you build it into multi-million-dollar companies. And that's what we've done.
Sure.
Not because we're greedy, not because we're pigs, but it's because we treat people with respect. And that's what I want my kids to do. Treat people with respect. You will always have their business. If you do the right thing, God is good. He will take you and put you in where you're supposed to be. Okay, you're gonna have to fight through things. You know, everything's not gonna be handed to you, but you have to work. You know, you have to work for it in anything you do. You want to be a
Anything.
doctor, hockey player,
Doesn't matter.
Builder, butcher. You know, I always, I love how Shaq also handles things. When his kids would be like, oh, I mean, and I'm not rich by any stretch of the means, but like, oh,
Yeah.
we're rich.
Yeah, no.
I'm rich.
Yeah.
You need 2 degrees to get into my business.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, and I love that about him. I've heard that before.
He's the
as
best.
well.
If I could live like that guy in that aspect,
Yes.
the way he gives back and the way he handles,
Absolutely. I'm going to close with this. What does success mean to you now compared to when you first started? Has that changed? Because sometimes we have this view when we start of what success looks like. And then as we go down the road and we face all the trials and tribulations and we have a different viewpoint of it. Has it changed for you at all?
I don't think so.
No.
I think in the same breath, like, I want to be a great father, great husband, good family man. That's success to me.
And that was always what it was about.
Yeah, make a living. Like I said, I
Build a family.
build a family, build a brand in the sense of our business and family being one. That's to me, that's success. Money's great.
Sure.
But
But money comes and goes.
Yeah. You know what? You can always make more of it. I've been blessed and fortunate that I've been able to provide my family a good way of life, but, money and, family and it's everything,
Yeah.
so that's how we always ran things.
And that's how you'll continue to do it.
That's simple, man.
Nothing changed.
Nope.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciated just your candor, your humility, and just the old-fashioned, blue-collar, hard work approach. I in the limited time that the stuff that I've seen on social media, the conversations that we've had, I see what you're passing down to your children, your family, the community at large. I think when we talk about Long Island legends, I think you embody that in so many different ways. So I commend you, which is why I was so excited to have you on the show, and it was certainly worth the time. So I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. This was great. You guys were awesome.
Guys, that concludes the show. Thank you so much for coming on and watching it. As always, if you are interested in selling a house on your terms, your timeline, your way, I'm Jeremiah Dalton. I'm the host of the Long Island Legends podcast, but I'm also the owner of Suffolk County House Buyers. Reach out to us. Go on our website, SuffolkCountyHouseBuyers.com, or give us a call, 631-333-SELL. And if you liked this show, please share it with someone. I hope they get as much value out of it as I have today. Thanks so much.